Hey guys, it's your brother in Christ, Weston. Thanks for joining me today. So today we're going to be reviewing a video from Asmongold going over Gavin Newsom. I believe he's coming on a show with Charlie Kirk. I don't know if it's his show or not, but he admits something that he rode hard for, and we're about to watch. Let's get into it. Okay, so I was watching all of this, and I got to the point where he's going to talk about um, Gavin Newsom saying, supposedly admitting right out that men in women's sports or trans, you know, men or what, I don't even know if it's trans men who are men who want to act like women and trans women who are women who want to act like men. I actually don't know. Um, Either way, men who want to act like women in women's sports is wrong. And this is Gavin Newsom in California saying this, who rides who rode so hard for this. Um, and I haven't even heard it, so it's gonna be the first time I hear it with you. So let's listen. Let's click record, put the mic over here, and then I thought I had it.
That's it. And so, yeah, I've got to say, I can respect.
Who's right? What do you?
I can respect Gavin Newsom for coming on a show like this, right? And I think this is how you get more people to agree with you and at least see you. And it's really not any more complicated than that. Well, apparently he's also like no longer supporting the trans sports thing. Here we go.
It's like you right now should come out and be like, you know what? The young man who's about to win the state championship in the long jump in female sports,
Right.
that shouldn't happen. You as the governor should step out and say no.
No, and I appreciate
But like, would you do something like that? Would you say no men in female sports?
well, I think it's an issue of fairness. I completely agree with you on that. So that's easy to call out the unfairness
Yeah.
of that. There's also a humility and a grace, that these poor people are more likely to commit suicide, have anxiety and depression. And the way that people talk down to vulnerable communities is an issue I have a hard time with.
What does
as
that
well.
have to do with sports?
So both things I can hold in my hand. How can we address this issue with the kind of decency that I think is inherent in you, but not always expressed?
It's like you right now should come out
Yeah, just say it.
and be like, you know what?
Yeah, it admits it's unfair. Yeah, just say it. Like it's so simple. It's so easy. Just say it. It's an emotional argument. Yeah, exactly. Like, and he's right that the way that trans people get treated is oftentimes unfair. It is. But I think that one of the reasons why is because you have rules like this and it radicalizes people against trans. I think that's exactly what happens. Is that like people see a rule like, oh, they can compete in like a women's sports, and then immediately they see that and they get mad and now they don't like trans people. That's really what I think happens. And also, like, by the way, if you just look at the general population of the world, look at how they feel about it, right? A straw man of trans people? No, I feel like I'm actually extremely fair about it, right? And I feel like I'm one of the only people that is fair. And it's that simple. Don't shove it in our face. Yeah, a lot of people feel like the over-representation is frustrating for them and they don't like it. Whether you agree with that or not doesn't really matter a whole lot. What matters is to whether other people do, basically, right? If there's enough people that feel that way in general.
Okay, so very I would say almost a very conservative kind of take on something like that, almost like trying to love your neighbor even though you're telling the truth. So let me save this here. I just need to save because we just did this. We'll put Newsom trans sports, whatever, we'll just say that. Save. Okay, because I just did all that work. Want to make sure it's saved. Okay, let's brighten this up a little bit. There we go. All right, so here are my thoughts. Newsom gave a big opening, a big tell as to why people do said thing. He said, I think it's unfair. He addressed it first. Good on him, by the way. I don't like Gavin Newsom for some of these takes. And the fact that he's in the arena with Charlie Kirk and Charlie's just pressing him and saying, hey, like, isn't that like this is very clearly unfair? Why would you ever support this? And then he says, it's unfair and I don't want these people to commit suicide. And that is okay. It's not okay that we allow them to compete with women in said sport. Men are naturally stronger than women. Just guaranteed. My son, who's 6 years old, okay, and comes up to, I don't know, past my like up here, right? When standing. I'm about 5'9", 5'10", and he's gonna be like supposedly supposed to be like 6'1", 6'2". Um, he is strong. Saw that guy moving this couch the other day. It's a heavy couch. And my wife sent me a picture and was just like, look at him go, using his legs, holding himself up with his arms as we're playing around, as we're roughhousing. He's getting strong. That should not. That should be. It's a very clear indicator that men are naturally stronger than them. Guaranteed. Guaranteed. If men try as hard as they need to, they will always. This is not a hot take. We will always outclass, outperform a woman in any sport ever. If we just in brute strength, let's just say that. Let's just say in just strength in general. How about that? Um, I think that's fair. Without getting too hot and saying anything and everything. Why? Because our bodies, we have bigger bone density. Um, we're naturally stronger. Testosterone is literally like the only hormone that we use, and it like drives everything. I mean, like I can't explain it. Every man knows what I'm talking about. That's why God says, I made a weaker vessel, which is the woman. It's not because it's chauvinistic or sexist or anything like that. I'm not saying that. It's that my job as a stronger vessel is to do said thing. And just because you're labeled, you are a weaker vessel doesn't mean that makes you weak in all things. It's just compared to me and what I'm designed to do and you're designed to do are vastly different. You could be stronger and wiser in things that I am not, and I'll be vastly weaker. Let's just make it that, okay? All that to say, he opened it up with just saying like very clearly, he's like there are higher rates of commit, unaliving themselves, and it's like, yeah, because something's going on up here, and someone is speaking to them and talking, and their identity is found in so many other things. So when they lose their identity, they're chasing, they're scared. In some sense, they are, and some trauma has happened in their lives. And then they come to this place, and it's a really ugly, nasty place, and they accept it. And then they perform these things, and it can get very graphic and very nasty, very immoral. Um, and it just keeps bleeding over and over. This is why you have the alphabet community, aka L, Lima, Golf, Tango, anything and everything I can think of, all, the whole alphabet, right? Um, but good on Gavin to admit it. And he's trying to, he's bending the knee to making sure he's trying to save people's lives. Is what it sounds like, just isolated in this instance. And I think he's being genuine there, because supposedly he's getting heat like crazy from the left, but you could hear it. And I'm not a person who's going to sit here and say people can't change. That I have not been an adulterer, a murderer, or anything like that in the sense of spiritually, right? That if I've looked at a woman with lust in my eyes, I've committed adultery. If I've hated somebody in my heart, I've committed murder. Don't take that out of context, YouTube. Never find anything like that, because I've never done it. But in God's eyes, I have, because I have done these things, and my wickedness of my heart, things that I used to be, that Christ says everyone used to be until they come to Christ and they're born again. We are all those things inside of him, and that's all that matters at that point. Um, and justice, if it's not served here, will be served there, eternal, in the lake of fire, right? To hear him say that, and to just hear the truth of it, like, okay, well, I wonder if that's how many other Democrats actually do that. People who are on the left do this because they care about the people, so they're trying to make room for them, and then they're criticized. I'm not giving trans and ins and out or anything. I'm talking about the human dilemma. A problem is that they have not been seen. People who have like literally a mental illness of some sort, meaning there is something that they're identifying with, something that they have done or has been done to them that has transformed them into this thing, and without help, and without going through trauma, without like forgiving this trauma, working through these trauma and these things like that, we've talked about it. You see what happens, and you see the wickedness of our heart continue to play out over and over and over. It gets darker and darker and darker. I think it's really important that we watch that. And I think it's important for everybody to do that, because Gavin saying something like that knew that he was going to get heat for it, and good on him. We don't always agree with the people who are obviously not going to agree biblically, but when we see something that lines up biblically, we see something that is right morally, we give credit where credit is due. Hey, because it shows that we are not biased, and we are not biased around here. I am not pro Republican, pro not pro Democrat. I've told you plenty of times that there was a Democrat who would vote biblically. Would they be a Democrat? I don't know. Would they be considered a Republican in a world like this? Yes. But what if they ran as a Democrat and said all these things, and this is what they held to? But they're just like, I'm a Democrat. Okay, they just a Democrat in name. It doesn't matter. I would vote for that person. If it was a person that wasn't either of them, I'd vote for that person. If it was a Republican, I'd vote for that person. If it was the other name that somebody was, I'd vote for that person. Why? Because I'm voting biblically. I am not one way or the other. I'm for the Lord's exact same thing. When what is it? When walls of Jericho and Joshua walks around it 7 times and he meets with an angel. He says, I'm neither for you or them. I am for the Lord. And that's what we do here. So I'm going to give Gavin his credit. I'm going to give Gavin his credit on that. He didn't have to say that. And he came out and it sounded like it honestly looked like he said the truth. Like he said, like, it's wrong. And there's no like shade about it. There's no innuendos about it. And the people that identify as said thing are truly going through something. It's true. And nobody wants you to take your life. It's the last thing I want to do. What I'm telling you is that this way that your life and that you're living is going to be so destructive, it will lead you closer and closer and closer and closer to the edge before you allow this thing to happen. That's what's happening. Um, and it's just evident. So, anyways, guys, that's the video. If you like the video, be sure to like the video. If you want to see more, be sure to subscribe. Let me know what you think about this video that we watched in the comments below. I'll see you in the next one.